Have you ever stopped to think that your knees aren't just biological hinges made for walking, running, or jumping? Beneath their apparent simplicity lies something deeper, an ancient mystery that cultures around the world once honored. Your knees are guardians of the emotional and spiritual energy that supports your ability to move forward in life. Let that sink in for a moment. Every step you take, every move you make is possible because of them. They're the bridge between the weight of your body and the ground beneath you, between your desire to move forward and the reality of the path you walk. And like any bridge, they don't just transmit force, they transmit energy. When that energy gets blocked, it can show up as pain, stiffness, or fatigue. But when it flows freely, it opens the door to more freedom, strength, and balance. In many ancient traditions, the knees symbolized humility and spiritual flexibility. Bending the knees wasn't just a physical act. It represented surrender to something greater and openness to growth. Wise teachers understood that these joints carried the memory of our fears and resistance. When we hesitate to move forward, our knees tighten. When pride or inner rigidity builds up, it shows up as pain. Now imagine this. Within your knees is a portal of ancestral energy. Pain, stiffness, or fatigue aren't only physical signals, they're messages from your soul, telling you that something inside needs to be released. Your knees may be trying to show you that you're carrying too much weight, holding onto old emotions, or afraid to take the next step in your journey. In this video, we'll explore how to unblock the emotional energy of your knees. You'll see that they're not just joints, but subtle centers of power and transformation. I'll guide you through the hidden symbolism they hold, what spiritual traditions teach us about them, and how to use simple but powerful practices that can free not only your body, but also your mind and spirit. Picture this. Every time you bend your knees, you're performing an act of liberation. Every conscious breath you direct toward them carries ancestral wisdom, reminding you that you can move forward more lightly. Your knees aren't the end of a biological process. They're the beginning of a spiritual journey toward freedom within. Get ready, because what you discover in the next few minutes will forever change the way you see your body and your energy. Throughout history, knees have held a special place in the symbolic, spiritual, and philosophical traditions of many cultures. They were never seen as just anatomical structures for walking, but as energy centers where body, emotion, and spirit come together. In Eastern traditions, especially in India, the knees were tied to the energy of movement and the flow of destiny. Vedic sages believed each joint was a knot of energy, a place where life's experiences were stored. The knees then became knots of humility and spiritual flexibility. That's why devotional practices often included kneeling or bowing, gestures that weren't just about respect, but about letting go of pride and opening yourself to the universe's lessons. In the West, the Greeks also viewed knees as symbols of power and connection to the divine. In Homer's Iliad, supplicants would touch another's knees as if they held sacred power to grant mercy or protection. This wasn't just theater. It was a reminder that the knees represented vulnerability and the courage to release pride in order to seek guidance. Hebrew traditions offered yet another perspective. Bending the knees in prayer symbolized union with the divine. Psalm 95 says, "Let us bow our knees before the Lord who made us." The act of kneeling embodied deep symbolism, the recognition that true strength comes not from ourselves alone, but from a higher source that sustains us. Philosophers, too, saw the knees as reflections of human balance, the bridge between stability and motion, between being rooted and being open to change. If the feet grounded us to the earth and the head reached towards the sky, the knees were the axis that let us move between both realms. In shamanic cultures of the Americas, the knees were considered guardians of the path. Knee pain was seen as resistance to progress. Shamans knew that true healing wasn't just about ointments or physical remedies, but about releasing the emotional and spiritual weight pressing on the soul. Across history, then, knees have been far more than simple joints. They've symbolized humility, flexibility, and inner movement. They remind us that moving forward in life depends not just on muscle strength, but on the spirit's ability to yield, let go, and embrace new possibilities. Think of life as a river. Sometimes it flows calm and clear, other times it's rocky and turbulent. In that river, your knees are like gates that let the water move forward. When those gates close, the water stagnates. When they open, the river flows freely again. That's how your knees work, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. They're portals for life's movement itself. From an energetic perspective, your knees aren't simply joints that bear weight. They're reservoirs of memory tied to flexibility, humility, and the courage to move forward. Every time you resist change, cling to the past, or refuse to yield, that tension is recorded not only in your mind, but also in your knees. Pain and stiffness are echoes from your soul saying, it's time to let go. It's time to learn how to bend without breaking. In symbolic psychology, the knees embody our capacity to bow before what's greater than us. Life, destiny, the divine. This isn't about submission, but about recognizing that not everything is in our control. Someone who refuses to bend, even symbolically, often struggles with pride, fear of vulnerability, or the need to hold on to power. Over time, these emotions harden and show up in the body as pain, as if the body itself is speaking what the mind refuses to admit. On the other hand, when we learn to release the stagnant energy stored in our knees, something powerful happens. We regain ease not just in how we move, but also in how we make decisions and how we move toward our goals. Free knees become a symbol of a spirit ready to move, ready to flow with life's twists and turns, and ready to accept that flexibility isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Masters of Eastern medicine understood this well. To them, the knees were closely tied to the flow of qi, the vital energy that runs through the body. When that flow was blocked in the knees, people didn't just feel physical discomfort. They also experienced emotional stagnation, fear of moving forward, indecision, and even resentment. That's why practices like Tai Chi or Qigong not only strengthen the joints, but also help restore their natural energetic flow, like polishing a stone until it shines again. Another fascinating thing about knees is that they always work in pairs. A knee is never alone. It leans on the other to walk, run, or jump. This duality speaks of balance, yielding and supporting, moving forward and pausing, letting go and receiving. It's a constant reminder that life isn't built on extremes, but on harmony. And when one knee fails, it's often a sign that we've lost that balance, that we've forgotten the sacred dance between firmness and flexibility. On a deeper level, knees are guardians of personal destiny. When they lock up, the road ahead feels heavy, filled with doubt and insecurity. But when they're free and fluid, we feel lighter and more confident, ready to step into the unknown. That's why releasing the emotional energy of the knees is more than just physical healing. It's a ritual of opening yourself to the future. In the end, knees are not just hinges of bone. They're subtle keys that connect your body to the ability to flow through life. Listening to them, caring for them, and freeing them is a way of stepping into a lighter life, where every step is an act of humility and inner strength. If earlier we saw the knees as guardians of flexibility, now we can go deeper into how to consciously release the energy that builds up there, because simply knowing that pain and resistance collect in the knees isn't enough. The real power comes from transforming that knowledge into lived experience. Imagine each of your knees as an ancient door that's been closed for years. Behind those doors are memories, emotions, and lessons you haven't wanted to face. Pain, stiffness, or fatigue are like rust in the lock, signals that it's time to open. So how do you do it? Through small rituals that blend awareness, movement, and emotional attention. In many spiritual traditions, bending the knees was seen as a gesture of sacred humility. People did it when praying, giving thanks, or surrendering to life. It wasn't about weakness, but about remembering that true strength lies in recognizing what's greater than us. Every time you gently bend your knees, while taking a deep breath and letting your weight settle into them, you're telling yourself, I accept, I flow, I trust. One of the first steps in unblocking knee energy is simply learning to listen to what they're holding. Sit quietly, place your hands on your knees, and ask, what weight am I carrying here that I haven't allowed myself to release? It may feel symbolic, but the body responds to mindful attention. Often, when you ask that question, forgotten things come up, a childhood fear, an old betrayal, a time in life when you refuse to yield. Recognizing these is like opening the windows of a closed room. The air begins to refresh itself. The next step is conscious movement. Each bend and stretch should be more than mechanical. It should be meditative. Imagine that with every bend, you're loosening your mind and spirit, and with every straightening, you're regaining strength and direction. Done slowly and with intention, these movements become a healing dance. The more you practice, the more you notice not only lighter knees, but also a lighter approach to life. Eastern practices also give us another tool, directed breathing. As you inhale, picture light entering through the crown of your head and flowing down into your knees. As you exhale, imagine pain, stiffness, and stuck emotions dissolving and leaving your body like gray smoke. This isn't just fantasy. It's a powerful way of teaching the unconscious to release what's been locked in the body. Knees are also turning points in the soul's journey. They mark the moments when you must decide, cling to the past or step into the future. Constant knee pain can be life's way of saying, it's time to choose. It's time to move forward. Freeing the knees also means freeing the will, the ability to act. Knees are tied to humility, and without humility, there's no growth. Stiffness in them speaks of pride, of an ego afraid of losing control. But bending reminds us that flexibility has more power than rigidity. The bamboo survives the storm because it bends, while the oak can snap. Likewise, those who know how to yield at the right moments master the flow of life. Freeing the knees is a reminder that we're not condemned to carry the same emotions forever. We can release them, transform them, and walk with renewed steps. Each free knee becomes like a torch, lighting the path to a lighter, freer, and more conscious life. Unblocking the energy in the knees isn't just therapy. It's a living metaphor for the human journey. Bend without breaking. Move forward without fear. Yield without losing dignity. Knees remind us that true strength doesn't come from hardening against life, but from learning how to dance with it. Though often overlooked, they're silent teachers, guiding us with every step to find balance between strength and flexibility. Now that we've uncovered their symbolic and energetic meaning, it's time to turn that wisdom into practical steps you can use in everyday life. These aren't just exercises for the body. They're keys to unlocking the sleeping energy within you. The first step: active listening to the body. The first tip is simple. Learn to listen. Every bit of discomfort or tension in your knees is a message your body and subconscious are trying to send. Spend at least 1 minute a day placing your hands on them, closing your eyes and asking, what am I resisting? What am I not accepting? What do I need to let go of? You might not get an immediate answer in words, but your body will respond through sensations, emotions, or sudden insights that guide you. 2. The art of bending without breaking. Practice gentle, conscious knee bends every day. Do them slowly with steady breathing, as if each movement were a conversation with life itself. When you bend, imagine you're surrendering to the flow of the universe. When you straighten, feel yourself reclaiming dignity and the strength to move forward. This simple practice doesn't just strengthen your joints, it strengthens your spirit of flexibility. 3. The breath of release. Use your breath as a tool to unblock energy. Inhale deeply, imagining golden light flowing down to your knees. Exhale and picture old grudges, fears, or resistances dissolving like dark smoke disappearing into the air. Repeat this especially when your body or emotions feel stiff and heavy. 4. The ritual of gratitude. Each morning or night, thank your knees. It may sound unusual, but gratitude opens energy pathways. Say to them, even silently, thank you for holding me, for carrying me, for reminding me of humility and flexibility. That act of recognition changes how you relate to your body and transforms the energy stored there. 5. The conscious step. Turn walking into meditation. It's not about speed, but about feeling how each step connects you to the earth. Notice how your knees move with each step and how, when they move freely, they remind you of the confidence it takes to keep going. 6. Practice humility. Knees remind us that true greatness isn't about forcing your way through, but about knowing when to yield. Practice humility daily. Listen more, stay open to learning, let life surprise you. In doing so, your knees not only grow stronger physically, they become mirrors of a spirit that flows without fear. 7. Release the emotional load. Knee pain often links to unresolved emotional burdens, guilt, resentment, frustration. Try this exercise. Write down what feels heavy on you. Fold the paper, place it under your knees as you breathe deeply, then burn it or bury it in the earth as a symbol of letting go. At the end of the day, knees are more than joints. They are spiritual teachers that show us how to walk through life. Through listening, flexibility, gratitude, and conscious movement, we can heal not just physical pain, but the unseen wounds that weigh us down. Every practice shared here is a key. By using them, you'll discover that walking isn't just about moving from one place to another. It's a sacred act of freedom and connection. Together, we've explored an often overlooked truth. Your knees are guardians of emotional energy and symbols of your relationship with life itself. They're not just hinges that let your legs bend. They're sacred structures that reflect humility, flexibility, and the choice to move forward with lightness, or, if ignored, with pain and resistance. Every ache, every bit of stiffness, every creak is a hidden message, a whisper from the soul asking, "What am I carrying? What haven't I released? What pride or fear keeps me from bending to life's wisdom?" Understanding this gives you power, the power to turn your body into a map of self-knowledge. Knees remind us that greatness isn't about pushing harder, but about knowing when to yield, when to flow, and when to surrender in order to rise stronger. What feels like pain can actually be a doorway to healing. When you learn to listen to your knees, free their blocked energy, and thank them for supporting you, life itself becomes lighter. Each step stops being mechanical and becomes a conscious act, a quiet prayer to the universe. Moving forward becomes a ritual, and each knee a reminder that true strength is born from humility combined with inner power. Now more than ever, the invitation is to make peace with your body, to see it not as just a vehicle, but as a divine messenger holding wisdom in every joint. And your knees, as the threshold of movement and progress, are patient teachers waiting for you to finally understand. So the next time you feel pain or stiffness, don't see it as punishment. See it as an opportunity. Your body is pointing to the very place your soul wants to grow. If this message resonates with you and you feel others could benefit from it too, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and share this video with the people you care about. Remember, every gesture matters, and together we can spread this ancient wisdom so that more souls awaken to the power waiting inside them.